Now I'd like to present to you Dr. Madana Kumar, who is the Vice President and Head of Learning and Development at UST Global. A passionate professional leader with more than 35 years of experience, he currently balances two important roles. One in the corporate as Vice President and Global Head of L&D, or Learning and Development at UST Global. And the second, in theological education as Director of Center for Leadership at South Indian Institute of Advanced Christian Studies. He has played a key role to create and nurture a learning culture and also in accelerating the digital culture within the organization, and strategically transform the L&D function at UST Global, which has won many accolades for L&D field and brought in a huge business impact. Prior to joining UST, he was the Associate Director at IBM Corporation, impacting the L&D of IBM employees in about 170 countries across the globe, including India. He's a passionate thought leader and strategist on leadership and organizational learning, and speaks at various forums like NHRD, HR Summit, CLO Summit, ATD, etc. His thoughts are sought after and published by the student publications in some IIMs and other first-year management colleges. He's also a guest speaker and faculty at the few management institutes and Bible colleges. Now comes my interesting parts. He has a PhD in business administration, a dual bachelor degrees in physics, and a BE from IISc. He holds an advanced diploma in business administration and certification in leadership awarded by Cornell University, USA. For his doctoral work, Dr. Madana Kumar studied the application of servant leadership in Indian NGOs. Fascinating person, I presume. Thank you, sir.
For those kind words, and good morning. First of all, to the students, congratulations. You all look very serious. Put a smile on your face, and can you raise your right hand, all of you? Okay, turn your palm backward. Keep it raised, turn your palm backward, and bend your elbow and tap yourself on your back. You've done a great job. All right? All of you know Steve Wozniak? Yeah? You know, recently he actually upset a lot of Indians. Do you know how? He said, Indians lack creativity, right? And the reason he found that Indians lack creativity is because of our culture and our educational system itself, which he says basically our educational system promotes success based on academic excellence alone and not on innovation and creativity and stuff like that. Now, I don't know what you thought about Steve's comments, but we will probably come back to it. But what I wanted to, basically what Steve said is that all that Indians are worried about is study, work hard, get a good job, have a good life, and that's it, you know. Well, we will see, is he right or not. One thing I noticed is that he used the term study, and he did not use the term learn or learning. So that is what I would like you to ask yourself, right? During, it takes effort, right, to get a degree like this, and especially with your full-time jobs, it's certainly not easy. And I'm sure your family members who are present here would vouch for that it was not easy, right? It was a lot of stress on you and all that. But what I would like us to ask ourselves is, did you just study to get the degree, or did you learn anything in the process of gaining this degree? Basically, what we want to ask is our efforts worth it, right? We know that is getting a degree from a reputed institute like Illinois Institute of Technology in itself is a reward. But was it worth it otherwise? And I would like to, look at a couple of things to see, was it really worth it? Dr. Carlson spoke about the technological advances that are happening all around us, right? And we know that it is so. And, Thomas Friedman, the guy who wrote The World is Flat, right? He has written a recent book called Thanks for Being Late. Thank you for being late. And in this, he actually, actually sort of explains a concept that we all know by now, that the technological advancements have actually overtaken the human adaptability. So he actually draws a graph where the technological advances were below the human adaptability earlier, probably a couple of decades ago, but now it has reached a stage where the technological advances have overtaken the human adaptability. And you know that by now. By the time you study something, by the time you get accustomed to a particular technology, it is changed, it is obsolete, and you got to go back and learn it all over again. So from that point of view, the efforts that you have put in to acquire a degree at this stage when you're working and things like that is certainly worth it, because we no more have the luxury of taking time off to learn, taking time off to go and learn something. We got to be learning all the time. That is the only way we can ever hope to at least catch up, if not match, the speed of technological advances that are taking place, the digital disruption that is taking place around us. So that's the first reason why I would like you to believe and be happy that, yes, your efforts were worth it, because you have demonstrated that culture of continuous learning, and then learning all the time, because all of you have learned it while holding a job and and then doing multiple other things. So from that point of view, it was worth it. The second thing that I wanted to highlight is, that the longevity of life itself has changed significantly over the couple of, probably the past century, right? A long life is no more a rarity. Right? And with that, what happens is the active life of a person is also no more, the active working life of a person is no more 30, 35 years as it used to be anymore, right? The authors, Linda Grayton and Andrew Scott of London School of Economics, they have written a book called The 100-Year Life. And in that, they basically claim, again, something that we know, but when it gets written in a book, it becomes attractive and it comes alive. What they're saying is, we are no more in that traditional study, work, retire, what is called the three-stage life, right? You look back, 20, 30 years back, I'm sure some of the people of my generation probably would agree to that. No? All that we used to do was study, work, retire, right? So that's called a three-stage life. It's no more that now, isn't it? It's no more a three-stage life. It is where people work while studying, people study while working, people try out work for some time and then take a sabbatical and either do study or go and be an entrepreneur and then come back to work. People switch jobs, people do a lot of things. It has really become a multi-stage life. It is no more a three-stage life, isn't it? Don't you feel that? Right? A lot of people, and I want to congratulate you on that, because you are again demonstrating that multi-stage life in your own life, that you have taken time off to learn something new, something different, and you are no more happy with that study, work, retire type of three-stage life. The third thing that I want to highlight as to why it is worth it is this. We know that, there was a time when managers in organizations used to hold a lot of power, right? It's no more so. With the digital disruption, taking over, management and leadership will no more be about the power that they have over others, right? It will be about how can we influence without authority, how can we influence without power. Right? If you don't believe me, go and study the history of Google. Right? About 8 years back, they took away every single power that managers had in the organization. Unlike many of the conventional organizations where we know the managers can decide on performance rating and the increments and the promotions and the hirings and all that stuff. Google managers don't have those rights anymore. Right? So that is the trend that is coming in. So you will need to be able to influence without authority or power, and when that requires credibility, that requires subject matter expertise. And what you're doing is actually gaining that credibility and, and then moving up the value chain of influence, whereby you will be able to influence by your expertise, not by your power or position or designation that you hold in an organization. Right? So those are the 3 counts on which I want you to believe and be happy that the time and effort that you put in is worth it. Let's come back to the question that I raised at the beginning. Did you study for the degree, or did you learn anything in the process? Right? If you just studied, you would obviously fit into the stereotype that people like Steve Wozniak would say about Indians, right? That all that we do is study, study, work hard, and have a good life, and that's it. But if you learned something, we can prove Steve and others like him wrong, right? We can prove that, yes, we can be creative and we can be innovative and things like that. But I'm going to challenge you to even further, and I think Rajesh mentioned that in his address already. But how can we make the degree even more meaningful, the degree that you have got? More meaningful to yourself, more meaningful for others around you, for the world by itself. We can see a lot of children here. How old is your baby, madam? 10 months, okay. What's his or her name? Adit. Boy? Okay, Adit. Now, Adit is 10 months old, and Adit does not know cycling, isn't it? It'll be a miracle if he does, right? He doesn't know cycling, right? But is he worried about it? No, he's not worried about it. Why is he not worried about it? He doesn't even care, right? He doesn't know that he doesn't know, and he doesn't care. All that he cares about is that he needs to be fed at the right time, he needs to be kept comfortable, he needs to sleep at the right time, and he knows how to get it done, isn't it? He knows how to get it done, even at this time. Now, fast forward a couple of years, let's say about 4 years, 5 years, right? Now, what happens? Adit starts. Let's say he lives now. They live in a society, in an apartment complex. He goes out and he sees other kids of his age or maybe a little older. They are enjoying an activity called cycling. What happens to him now? What will he do? Like any other good child, he will realize that, hey, there is something cool that the other kids are doing, and I don't know. It's fair. It's unfair, right? It's unfair. So he will come and trouble his father and mother and say, hey, like, those kids are enjoying it. I need to enjoy it too. And then obviously, the father and mother will ultimately succumb, buy a bicycle, probably a tricycle first, and then a bicycle with supporting wheels, run behind him, teach him how to do the cycling and all that stuff, right? And one day, he will learn how to do cycling without the supporting wheels and without Papa holding behind him. And on the day that he does that first time, what is his state of mind? He will be thinking about the activity of cycling and cycling alone. He will be thinking about how his body posture should be, how much pressure he should apply on the pedal, where is the brake, when to take a turn, when to apply when to ring the bell. His mind will be 100% on the activity of cycling, isn't it? He can't afford to do anything else because he got to be conscious about that. Fast forward 6 months. What happens? Ma, no hands. Is he thinking about cycling when he does cycling at that time? No way. Cycling is the last thing in his mind. He will be thinking about what mischief to do next. He will be thinking about, he will be singing. He will be thinking about, how to pull a prank on his friend. But he will be thinking about everything else other than the act of cycling itself. Now, this is true about this little boy. It is true about us. How is it true about us? Every learning follows this cycle. Every learning follows this cycle, right? We don't know something, and then somebody like Dr. Carlson comes and takes a class, and we realize that, hey, there is a lot more in data science and data management, and we become aware of what we did not know. And then the third stage where he went to is where he practiced that cycling consciously. And then you reach what we call, so we start with what we call as an unconscious incompetent stage where we are unconscious about what we do not know, and then we move into what we call as a conscious incompetent stage where we realize that, hey, I didn't know that or I don't know that. And then you learn it. And then you have to get into the third stage of learning that is called as the conscious competent stage.